Falcon fans, and of course, good old Atlanta Falcon fans, man. You already know what it is. You already know what to do. One time for the fan. We are back talking Atlanta Falcons football. Big shout out to everybody in the chat, the fans in the stands already talking Falcons football with us here tonight. Big shout out to Kerry, one time for the fan. Big shout out to Bodie 3000. One time for the fan, too, as well. Big shout out for T-Will, former ATL Sports, one time for the fan. I believe T-Will should be joining us here shortly. If not, then we're going to get this show rolling the right way. Of course, Miss Carrie, always doing big things in the Falcons community, so she's probably out there representing the fan base wherever she is pretty well. You guys know Carrie for a long time, too, as well. Carrie might be joining us tonight, but of course, we got some really cool news to share with you all here tonight on One Time for the Fans. Make sure you guys are all tuned in and prepared for that. But yeah, it's going down in a major way. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you listen or watch One Time for the Fan, then you know that we are here, we are live, and we are ready to talk about these Atlanta Falcons, about them dirty birds. So, man, I don't even know where to start off, but let me just send this quick tweet before we get to the fans in the stands. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I see y'all in the chat. I see y'all over there talking Falcons football, man. Get y'all questions ready too as well. We're going to talk some Falcons draft tonight, talk some Falcons news and offseason updates, talk about a potential Falcons prospect that got into a little trouble recently. And we're going to try to weigh in with the Falcon fans here in the chat and see, is it something that could hurt not only his draft stock, but could it also hurt the chances of him possibly landing with the Atlanta Falcons? And I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard the news too as well. And the Falcons make a surprising trade in the past couple of days, something that we have kind of spoke about here on One Time for the Fan, but never really put too much interest into it because we didn't think it was going to happen when it comes to this player that I'm sure you guys all knew about, a player who was under contract for the Atlanta Falcons too as well. So we're going to get ready to talk about that in just a minute. And send this out here. Bam, just sent it out. All right, Falcon fan, let's see what we got, man. We got the fans in the stands. You already know what it is. You already know what to do, man. Drew Quavius is in the chat. Shout out to Drew Quavius in the chat. Said, Falcon fans, what's up? Jack Spade and Terry. Crazy trade on Friday. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Jay Kidd is in the chat, too, as well, talking Falcons football with us, with the one-time emojis, the red and black emojis. I know Jay Kidd is in here having a good time tonight talking Falcons with us too as well. Maggie T says, my guys, your guy. I'm holding it down here right now until T-Will pops in here. Let me see if T-Will has responded. No, he was taking care of some stuff today. T-Will is always busy. You know what I'm saying? If he's not doing the podcast, he's probably creating one. But let me see here. Let's see, T-Will. He should be joining us here in a minute. He's probably taking care of some stuff, man. But big shout out to T-Will, former ATL Sports, one time for the fan. King Atlanta supporters in the chat with the what's up. Big shout out to King Atlanta supporter. DSGB Hall is in here with the free Meg. Oh, my God. With the one-time emojis and then the free Meg, man. Come on, DSGB Hall. Big shout out to DSGB. DSGB Hall, are you watching from Tokyo right now? Are you in Tokyo? Are you in Japan? I don't know. Did you come back from Japan? Are you on the way to Japan? Are you still in the sky? Where are you at? Talk some Falcons football with us tonight. DSGB Hall. Archangel's in the chat with the one time for the one time, though. Big shout out to Archangel. Jay Kidd said, Falcons family, what's happening? He's in here talking with the chat. Dwayne Ruffin checking in from the West Coast saying it's going down. Big shout out to Dwayne Ruffin's in the chat. Silk Legacy's in the chat with, what's up, Jack? Yeet. Get some. All right, so look, we're going to start the show off the right way. First thing you got to do is hit the like button, right? I see some people in here from Facebook. I see some people in here from YouTube. I see some people in here from Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and hit the like button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on Amazon Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts or Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts, definitely go ahead and hit the follow button, hit the share button, send it out so that way your Falcons friends, your Falcons family in the community can talk some Falcons football with you. And of course, with myself and the rest of One Time for the Fan. Also, if you're watching here today on Facebook or any channel that you want to, go ahead and share it. Please go ahead and share it with your Falcons friends in your groups, your Discords, Facebook chats, Facebook messengers, wherever you're at. Get all your people in here so we can talk Falcons football in a positive way. Why? Because it's draft week, right? And it's going to be a big week for the Atlanta Falcons. One Time for the Fan, we have a lot of shows happening this week. We got a pop-up show that's going to be going on tomorrow, right? We're going to have another pop-up show that's going to be happening on Tuesday. Got Wednesday night One Time for the Fan broadcast. I believe we're going to have another pop-up show. Just checking the schedule here. Another pop-up show on Thursday. And then, of course, Friday. Well, matter of fact, Thursday's the draft. And I don't want to throw the pop-up show in there unless the Atlanta Falcons make a decision of moving up into the first round and grabbing a player or two. Now, on Friday, we have some interesting news to share with you all in just a little bit, but I want to make sure everybody's in here enjoying themselves tonight as we talk some Falcons football. DSGB Hall says, I'm still in Tokyo. It's 9:13 in the morning. Falcon fans, let me keep it real with y'all. We talk Falcons all the time. We have fans from everywhere around the world when it comes to listening to One Time for the Fan, when it comes to watching One Time for the Fan. I want to take my hat off and just say I salute you all when it comes to taking the time out of your day to come join us here, to bring the comments, to ask the questions that you guys want to hear the answers for when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. But for DSGB Hall to be in Tokyo right now at 9:15 in the morning watching One Time for the Fan, big shout out to DSGB Hall. He could be taking care of a lot of other things. He could be out there doing some sightseeing. He could be out there getting breakfast or running around those Tokyo streets. But he chose to take the time out of his morning to watch us here. And of course, when it comes to the algorithm and like the streaming thing, now we're streaming in Tokyo right now. DSGB Hall, I don't know if there's a lot of other Falcon fans around you in Tokyo right now, but put them on game about these Atlanta Falcons. Put them on game about One Time for the Fan. Of course, you know, we have online Tuna who's in New Zealand. We've had some other Falcon fans here checking from Australia, fans from Canada too as well. So it's great to see that people really enjoy One Time for the Fan. Smooth Season the chat says, sup, Jack? No roast today. Sigh. Just here for Falcons 411. Hey man, we talk Falcons all the time. You know that. We talk Falcons all the time. So it's great that Smooth C can come in here and be prepared for a roast session, but he'd rather just sit here and listen to some Falcons talk tonight. So big shout out to Smooth C. We've been missing Craig in the chat. Don't know where Craig is. Apparently, you know, the Falcons, they fired him from the janitorial duties over there at Flowery Branch. So now he's looking for work. I did see him flipping the sign over there off of Cleveland Avenue for Pizza Hut. So I don't know if he's still working there, but Craig, hats off to you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You know, you're always putting on for the community, man. Big shout out to Craig. Ray 50's in the chat with what up, Spade? It's draft week. It is draft week. It's an opportunity for us to sit down with the Falcon fans in the chat and find out what are your thoughts about draft week. What are your thoughts about what the Falcons are going to be able to accomplish by next weekend? And of course, with so much news going down across the NFL, of course, you guys heard Dexter Lawrence now has went off to the Bengals. That was something that we thought about here in Atlanta amongst the Falcon fans. What if we sent off a draft pick for Dexter Lawrence? Some fans were saying second round, third round, give him a fourth and a conditional next year. The Bengals, I believe, sent over their 10th or 11th pick and paid him a boatload of money. And, of course, now he's with the Bengals, who we play this year too as well. So Ryan Newziel, Chris Lindstrom, Matthew Bergeron. It's a big presence to watch for in the middle when we're playing the Bengals, and that could be a game in Germany too as well. So keep an eye out for that too as Falcons fans. Jay Kidd said, so the 107 Glenwood made its last ride on Friday. Man, 107. What? Glenwood 107, them days, for those that's been in Atlanta for quite some time, for been on the east side for quite some time, yeah, you guys would know about the Glenwood 107 route. Man, I ain't gonna lie, JK, I don't know if you've been over there in that area. I used to be over there by Victory Crossing a long time ago. Had some friends that was in that area. So of course, growing up, I would randomly find myself over there on that side of town. And then of course, right there behind that Shell gas station, I think it's Austin Drive. Over there, man. I used to be over there too as well with some cats. And Glenwood was Glenwood, I can tell you that. Plus, they had the clubs right there, the flea market right there. They had Vibes right over there too as well. The back road that will stretch out, take you over there behind Wesley Chapel, about where the China cafeteria used to be. Straight down the street, the Glenwood Bowl too as well, all the way going down by Columbia and all that. So yeah, man, I used to be back there in those old trap days, man, over there hanging out with some cats that some people might know, some people might not want to know. Jay Kidd said, my pop stayed in Victory Crossing. I was born on Austin Court. Yeah, man. Yeah. So when you go down Austin Court, like right behind the gas station, when you go down there, it was the second house. It was first or second house on the left. I haven't been over there in a minute, man. First, second house on the left, man. My partner used to stay over there, man. So yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been some years. I'm talking about it's been some years, bro. Like it's been it's been some years. We talking about bot shit. We talking about Glenwood Day. JK, we talking about Glenwood Day years. And you know about Glenwood Day. You know, we used to pop out the Shell. Back then, I mean, I had that 73 Impala, so I was popping out. You know, my homeboy had the 69 Canary Yellow Impala too as well. So we used to tear up I-20 all the time. Had a couple homeboys, some Cutlasses, some Brigos, Monte Carlos. Man, we used to really cut up out there. And that was back when Glenwood Bowl was still open. That's from back when he was what's that club, man? They put a storage next to it now. Glenwood Day trumped all the days. Glenwood Day was big, man, in Atlanta, man. Ben Hill Day was also big too as well. Plus, we used to be over there at Mosley Park on Sundays, man. We used to be over there with the old schools and stuff, man. So people don't know that's the other side of Atlanta, old Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? That some of y'all might be like, oh man, we heard about those days. Yeah, your boy Jack Spade was living that life, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about SWAT's Day, LOL 404. Yeah, SWAT's Day. I ain't participating in SWAT's Day. I know we used to be over there by Ben Hill Day. I had some people over there that stayed in the Ben Hill area. I had a couple of friends that stayed off Bolton Road too as well. So I remember going back to Bone Homes, a couple of their small little gatherings that they used to have too as well. Randomly used to be on the west side when I wasn't supposed to be on the west side, hanging out in Allen Temple and hanging out over there by Adamsville and across the train tracks and all that stuff, man. So there was some days, man, back in Atlanta. That was when Atlanta was Atlanta, man. You had, if you ain't know nobody from over there, do not go over there. I can tell you that right now. The more Deja Vu days, Simpson and Kimberly, right behind the liquor store, man. So yeah, this Atlanta's Atlanta. Don't let these folks out here fool you now. You know what I'm saying? When they come over here talking about some, oh man, y'all, Jack Spade, you just know Falcons, man. But I was in Atlanta. I was in the city with it. I was in the A. I was on them back streets. I was in places you should not be. But yeah, it's going down. It's going down. Mackie T said, yup, stayed near Bankhead and all. Yeah, that was them days back there. Was it Donnelly Hollowell now that changed the name, put some new homes over there. I think it's going to stretch down the belt line for the West Side Works project and all that. You know, I think Arthur Blank got his hand in that over there too as well. Hell, I think there was a damn water fountain the last time I drove by over there. That's a little water fountain over there with the little things they having over there in the parks and stuff, man. That's it, man. We trying to redo the West Side, man. Look at these folks putting that money into it. Hollywood Courts Day was too lit though. I didn't go to Hollywood Court Day. I can tell you that. I was not over there in the courts. I was not. I didn't. I knew some folks over there. I knew some folks in like Thomasville, Mechanicsville. You know, I knew some folks in every little area. Herner Homes. Like, we talking about some old Atlanta days, man. Old Atlanta, man. Them Heat days. What I'm saying, Silk Legacy, them Heat days. He said, yeah, Jack used to hang with me on Glenwood. We used to play marbles behind the shell. You used to play marbles behind the shell, my boy. Hey, you was over there. You was over there doing that. I was just driving by. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Silk Legacy, man. In the chat, big shout out to Silk Legacy. Big shout out to everybody in here. Smooth C was asking earlier, does Branch fall to us with the latest news? Look, let's talk some Falcons football. So look, check this out. If you already hit the like button, that's good. I'm proud of you. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and hit the like button. You see, we got a little sidetrack talk about old Atlanta. Now y'all know Jack Spade was out there for real. And don't forget about Stunt World. Don't forget about, man, my boy. Hey, don't forget about Stunt World with Stunt Fest and the car shows, everything. My boy MJ still out there doing it. Matter of fact, they had Stunt Fest this weekend. So if I had an old school something like that, I would have pulled up on them. But I got cars just to get from A to B now. I'm just trying to just whip and dip. You know what I mean? But yeah, back in the day, man, there was some good times in Atlanta, man. Central Station, being over there, East Point, man, being just areas that you never would expect it, man. Even behind what's that street over there by Memorial Drive, by the jail, Kensington Station, the old apartments and all that stuff. Old English townhomes, Brandon homes over there, them apartments down there in the street where that Huddle House, that Waffle King used to be. Trap. Scottdale, Toby Grant, man, I used to buy. I can't forget about that Zone 6, man. That's a lot about what we used to go through back then. Shout out to my boy Lil Chris, man. But we used to be over there, man, on Whiteford too as well, man. A lot of cats that grew up in those areas. We used to see them all the time, man. Brandon Hills, yeah. J Kid, no. Brandon Hills, yeah. J Kid's an East Sider. Got to be an East Sider. You type that out too smoothly. You got to be an East Sider, J Kid. That's what East Side folks do. We know these streets, man. We know these streets. Sherman Wood in the chat, man, said, rise up. Look, man, get your questions. Bring your questions to the chat. I want to see the comment section going crazy. Tag your Falcons friends. Tell your Falcons family. Jack Spade's live talking Falcons football. T-Will might be joining us here tonight. Of course, T-Will is always taking care of a lot. And of course, we want to make sure if T-Will can't join us tonight, if Kerry can't join us tonight, that y'all are a part of the show. We include everybody on One Time for the Fan. It's from the fan, it's for the fan, right? We always got to make sure y'all know that. It's from the fan, it's for the fan. Y'all are the fans here tonight. That's why the show was created, not only from myself, for my close friends, but for my Falcons family, for people who want to talk Falcons football all the time. It's 8:27. The NBA playoffs is on right now. The Hawks took a disappointing loss yesterday. Atlanta United took a disappointing loss. The Braves are rolling though right now. They're probably one of the best teams in baseball outside the Dodgers. Let me see if the Braves are winning right now too as well. And if y'all could, as we talk Falcons football, keep us updated. It's 2-1 Phillies right now in the top of the fourth. But keep us updated on what's going on with the Braves. Albies is at the plate right now. So keep us updated in the chat as we talk Falcons, what's going on with the Braves. We like to keep this Atlanta. Atlanta's going to represent Atlanta tonight. So definitely tag your Falcons friends. You're on your Facebook. Post it on your Facebook so your Falcons friends can see it and say, look, oh, shit, I want to jump in and talk Falcons too. They're positive chat right there. They're talking Falcons. Put it in your Discord. Send it to your Twitters. Tag the folks. Tag your content creators that you want them to jump in here and be a part of this. I got some news I'm going to break to y'all in just a minute about Friday. And, we definitely want to include everybody into what we got going on. Archangel said, love Central Station. Central Station, but don't get me started on old Atlanta. Don't get me started on old Atlanta, man. Central Station, bro, we had to get sleep before we go to Central Station. Like, you wasn't showing up on Central Station at no 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That was not happening. You were going to Central Station by 11:30. It ain't close to 3, jumping in by 11:30, line deep, line packed. And that Central Station had one of the biggest parking lots in the city when it came to the club. And then they had the parking lot behind the goddamn club too as well, which just carried on, just extended on. And then after that, for those that do not know, we used to hit Deja Vu over there on the west side because after 2, you're sneaking and geeking. After 2, You bring your bottle in the club. People didn't know that you can bring your bottle in Deja Vu after 2:00 in the morning. So of course we would leave Central Station and head straight to the Vu. And this when you walk around and them folks in there with the jokers in there with no shirt on with the West Side's on one tats. Just where y'all from? Teeth just grinning, they geeked up. Real Atlanta. Real Atlanta. See a lot of old artists that started in there that had they come up from that area. And of course you had to be careful rocking around in Simpson Road 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And then when you coming outside, the club closed like 6 o'clock. You walking outside, people going to work. You know what I'm saying? Then they had them apartments back there too as well, right next to the Deja Vu. You had to be very careful where you park your car. If you wasn't there early enough to get across the street and park, boy. And of course, like I said, we were whipping old schools, so we had to be very careful where we parked our old schools and stuff. Man, I done came out the club a few times and seen a hanger in my window, somebody trying to get through that joker, man. So yeah, man, it's a lot, man. But I love Atlanta. Silk Legacy, I live in every house, hood, ville, and village in Atlanta. As long as they were women, I stayed with them. Hey, Silk Legacy, man, you moving around, man. Silk Legacy out here getting around, man. Silk Legacy's from the hood, boy. I see you. Mackie T said, yep, I was also in those Decatur streets. Yeah, East Side Decatur, Columbia, Midway. Anything over there behind that Covington Highway heading straight up, we was all through there. We was through there. What it said? Take me through there. We was over there. Don't let me go back to them Jazzy T's game. Hey, J Kid, don't let me talk about them Jazzy T days. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear about them Jazzy T days. I'll take y'all back. We was doing this. We was for real doing this back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Skipping school to get the Jordans. Come on now. We been do that. Yeah, let's talk about some Falcons, man. Let's see if we can get to it. Where do I want to start out? SCKT said, shut your mouth and keep on talking. Hey, my boy J Kid in the chat, man. Big shout out to J Kid. Look, let's get to this, man. I was a bartender at the gate. The gate? You was at the gate, my boy? Look, I'm going to say this last thing right here. J Kid, I'm going to say this last thing right here. Maggie T, everybody in the chat. Y'all want to know how Atlanta I was when it came to knowing what was going on? I don't know who the hell is this. What we vote? What is this? What? We're not doing that. Get up out of here. You ain't talking Falcons. Get up out of here. Winston Thornton, I got something for you too as well. Make sure you hang around in the chat, Winston Thornton. Tag your Falcons friends, man. Bring them all in here. I got something for you in just a minute. Just hold on. J Kid, you want to know how East Side? You want to know how Atlanta I was? Y'all probably never even been to the yard. And if I'm bringing back memories for those that have been to the yard, then y'all know what I'm talking about. That's Atlanta. If you do not know about the yard, even when I mentioned Deja Vu, bringing your bottle in, a lot of people did not know about the Vu. And the new Vu, I ain't talking about Deja Vu 2 that was on Campbellton and Delowe. I'm talking about the old Vu that was on Simpson and Kimberly. But if you didn't know about the yard, you might not have been Atlanta. They're probably looking at it like, Jack, the yard? You talking about what Big Low Country be out there doing when in the spare time? Not that yard. Talking about the yard. And if you knew what a yard was, you was Atlanta. You didn't just fall through the yard like you was just some fresh kid off the street. You had to know somebody to be at the yard because you will get, but hey, you better be careful going through that yard. And if you can name the location right now in the chat where the yard was, I'll give you some cool points for the day. The yard. I'm talking about Atlanta. We talking about clubs. We talking about after hour spots. We're talking about spots y'all probably ain't even heard of. The yard. I'll call some jokers right now. Some of my old heavy Chevy boys. I'll call some jokers right now and be like, yo, man, y'all remember the yard? They're going to be like, oh, the yard? Hey, they didn't bring that joker back. The yard. Remember that? Maggie T might be looking like, the yard. Wait a minute, the yard. Maggie T better think about it. J Kid, you better think about it. I'm talking about the yard. Yes, sir. Yeah, that joker it was open late. It was open late. You can't even Google it. Don't even Google it because it ain't gonna pop up. And it was around for years back then. It was around for a long time. Somebody gonna listen to this podcast and be like, "Oh, Jack Spade, you was at the yard? Hold on, bro. You knew about that spot?" Yes, sir. And it wasn't in Decatur. It wasn't in Stone Mountain. It wasn't in Latonia. It was over the highway. We talking about the yard. Talking about that spot. Yes, sir. Gotta know about it. I'll give y'all the location. If y'all give up, J Kid's in the chat. J Kid's in the chat. Nah, not old Nat. J Kid's in the chat though. What you know about that yard, J Kid? Wait a minute, J Kid for real. That's a real East Sider right there, boy. Hey, the yard, Constitution Ave. I'm telling y'all. We used to pull up with them Chevys. We used to pull up with them Chevys deep. When you see that flaming trash can, that's the only way you find in the yard is if you see that flaming, you riding down. What the hell is this shit? Oh, there you go. That's the only way you find in the yard. You gotta look for that flaming trash can. Atrium Plaza, man, take me through there. We ran through Atrium Plaza. Before they started putting them Jamaican clubs and all that. We was at Atrium Plaza when Run and Shoot was across the street. Back when the old Piccadilly was hitting. Man, come on, Maggie T. Come on, Maggie T. We've been outside. Look, let's get to it. Lots of hole in the walls. Yes, that's Atlanta for you. Dre 3000 said it. Doing them hole in the wall clubs, this shit here must stop. Like Freeze, we making the crowd move now. We not making no cheese, and that's a no. That was Dre 3000. That was Atlanta. Called the 86 Latonia, man. Tasty dog drip. Hey, J Kid, boy. J Kid. What are you? Who is J Kid? J Kid is somebody. He's out. J Kid is somebody in the city. I gotta talk to you, J Kid. You might have pulled up on us. You might have knew who we was. When we pulled up in them Chevys, when we pulled up in them 73 Impalas and them 69 Canario Impalas, we pulled up in them Cutlasses, the Monte Carlos. My boy had the Grand National. My other homeboy had the Purple Sprite Caprice. When we were pulling up, I'm talking about like all you hearing is your flows and 2, 3, 4 15s in that joker, 4 12s in that joker. That was Atlanta. That's what we were doing. J Kid know what's going on. Jay said I was everywhere, Jack. You in my area, man. You in my area. You was at the yard off morning. You was in my area. And there was only one way in and one way out of the yard. Better be careful. Better be careful. Winston Thornton said they shut down our Piccadilly after the DC sniper hit someone walking out of it. Sheesh. Some tough times. Tough times. J Kid said I was everywhere, though, man. J Kid a real one, though. He's a real one. All right, look, let's get to some Falcons football, man. We had a good 15, 20 minutes of table talk about Atlanta and, you know, what's going on here in the city and everything back in the day. Let's talk about these Atlanta Falcons because something happened recently that I think we're all a little bit shocked at. That boy said Club XS. Boy, Silk Legacy. Jeez, Club XS. God, that's when them jokers were wearing that them silk tops with the 3 down with the 3 button up. It wasn't polo. That was them Bobby Brown outfits they were wearing at Club XS. Had the part in the hair right here going all the way back. One gold tooth on the side. Gold colored Romeo glasses. Boy, stop. Boy, stop. No, boy, King of Atlanta supporter said changes is happening. See, a lot of people can talk about the Falcons. You can't talk Atlanta. You can't talk Atlanta. That's why one time for the fan, man, we are Atlanta. We are the A. This is what one time for the fan is. You grew up here. What April Shower say? Grew here, you flew here. We can talk Falcons all day. Talk Atlanta. We want to hear about the city. Tell me where you from in Atlanta. Let me hear about that. Let me hear about them old times like that. Some people can't do that. We can do that. 10 toes down with Atlanta forever. That's what we do. That's what we do. Big shout out to Miss Carrie, man. I just saw Miss Carrie. She's unless she's taking care of something. I just saw her repost right here. So Miss Carrie's around here somewhere. Super producer, good friend, Miss Carrie. Look, the Atlanta Falcons did something the other day. I think that we're all a little bit shocked about. I was kind of shocked because we did mention that the Falcons could possibly be in the market of trading Jesse Bates or a Kyle Pitts due to what is going on with their contract. And Ray 50 said, I can't talk Atlanta. I'm from South Georgia. No, we're not calling anybody out. I promise you, Ray 50, we ain't calling nobody out. Because if you represent the Falcons, if you represent the city, if you represent Georgia, if you represent, Ernest was out there, DSUB Hall was out there in Macon. You know what I'm saying? He was out there in the country. Bigelow Country Sports was out there in the country too as well. So we're all representing. When it comes to Atlanta, there's some things that me, J Kid, Maggie, we can relate on. Silk Legacy, a lot of people in the chat can. He's still Silk Legacy going on. He said American Legion. What? I tell you, Silk Legacy, he was one of them Yeet boys for real. I'm going to say American. Once he said Club XS, don't even talk about the Gold Room with Eric Bischoff. And don't let me get to them days. Don't let me get to them days, boy. But yeah, let's go with the Falcons. Red Train. J Kid. I had to take a sip of my goddamn soda, boy. J Kid. Man, we got to chop it up, J Kid. I promise you, man, Atlanta's one of those cities. I probably was at a stop like 2, 3 in the morning and looked over and J Kid in his prime was over there. What's up, J Kid? He didn't even know it. That's Jack Spade over there. Years later, look at J Kid talking Falcons with you, boy. Big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Winston Thornton said, I can't talk Atlanta because I'm way up in Virginia, but I can talk Atlanta Falcons. That's what you do. That's what you do, and you do it well. Winston Thornton, you do it very well. You know what I'm saying? And I got an opportunity for you to talk some Falcons with One Time for the Fan coming up real soon. J Kid said, that's what's up anytime, my guy. Hey, man, big shout out to J Kid in the chat. Karina is in the chat. Super fans in the chat. She said, hey, Jack, rise up. Draft week is here. That is right. The draft week is here. Fans are excited. For new fans that's jumping in, because I see the numbers are jumping up, hit the like button if you're on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at. I know some of y'all talked to a fan at Atlanta United the other day, last night, and the young man said, I still watch the podcast. I listen to it all the time. I don't comment, but I watch it all the time. So there are some people who do watch the podcast that do not comment. They don't want to put their input in there. They don't want to say nothing that might piss off another Falcon fan. Because me and this fan talk Falcons for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure his take on what the Falcons are going to do this year could be similar to what I think the Falcons are going to do this year. We might have some disagreements. But like the young man said, I still watch it. I just don't comment. I just love watching it and just, sitting to the side. So there's some fans who do like watching the podcast, but they don't say nothing in the chat. You can drop a rise up if you want to. Just acknowledge if you're here, if you want to. If not, that is perfectly fine. Because at the end of the day, we are all Atlanta Falcon fans here to talk about the better half of the Atlanta Falcons. We already seen the bad side. We're trying to get to the better half of these Atlanta Falcons, right? What the future holds for us coming up. Not only this week with the draft, but of course with workouts that's going to be happening shortly after, the schedule release that's going to be happening in less than a month, and just so on and so on with these Atlanta Falcons. King Atlanta supporter says, man, please, the draft coming up, what do you think the Falcons will be getting? This question is for everyone. As you can see right here, King Atlanta supporter is asking the question to not only myself, but to the chat. Once again, One Time for the Fan. It's from the fan. It's for the fan. So everybody's in here talking Atlanta Falcons football. But the Falcons, and this is going to play into the draft too as well, the Falcons recently making a trade on Friday where I had just took care of some stuff and I was getting ready to go into our chat and talk some Falcons with Kerry and the rest of the gang. And I see breaking news from Adam Schefter. At first, I'm thinking this is a fake account. Because when you get those notifications on social media, and you're like, oh, this has got to be a fake account. You're trying to check the spelling of the name just to make sure it's correct and everything. And I'm like, no way possible this is happening. That the Falcons are trading away Rook Aurora to the Jags for Mason Smith, a guy that we traded up for in a previous draft is now getting traded for a young man who came from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you guys remember we had a Jacksonville Jaguar fan in the chat not too long ago where he would come in here and say some negative things about the Falcons, because me and him had a back and forth from a long time ago where, I went to school with him. And of course, he talks about my golf game. And I talk about, just who he is as a person. And we used to go back and forth, but it was all in good fun. But I reached out to him the other day and I said, yo, Jay, I need you to let me know about this Mason Smith cat, because he had less of a snap count than Rook Aurora. I ain't see too much from Mason Smith. And even on some of the videos you see, it's not like he's in the game every single play. Rook was one of those players that we thought was going to be projected to stay here for a long time. His PFF, his RAS score rating when he came out of Clemson was up there. It was top of the line. That's why the Falcons moved up to go get this young man. But as we can see a couple years later, Rook has fallen short of his dream of continuing on with the Atlanta Falcons. And for that, it's kind of disappointing, because the Jaguars got a guy that I think some of us know about, but we got a guy that we honestly do not know about. And it's a situation where I see a lot of fans are saying, we do have a solid defensive line coach in Nate Ali, and it's just going to have to be in his hands to turn Mason Smith around to get him on a level of where we need him to be. Rook working with Dorless and working with Lakel London, recently Katavius Street, some of the other guys on that defensive line, we saw that Rook had his X's and O's kind of figured out in a way where he wasn't a bad defender for the Atlanta Falcons. He wasn't a bad player on the defense. He was just growing into what he needed to be, as an NFL player. And he's a young cat too as well. So we didn't get a chance to see Rook at that very young age, fully bloom into something that he could have been something like a Dexter Lawrence, or maybe he could have been something on that level of even going close to like what's the dude's name from that used to play for the Minnesota Vikings, man. I can't remember his name. Linval Joseph or something like that. Rook was in a situation where it was like Jeff Ulbrich is swapping people out left and right. And of course, that defense we had last year was pretty damn good. But Rook getting shipped off to the Jags a week before the draft, it kind of shows us that something is going on behind the scenes with Ian Cunningham that we probably never expected to see. They're cooking up something that I think we need to be prepared for. And even going over this roster that they have now, if you get down to it when it comes to this defensive front, with their 3 techs and their 1 tech, you got Brandon Dorless, who's coming off an injury. You got Deshaun Hand, too, as well, who's a big body in the middle. You got Mason Smith now, who gets plugged into where Rook was. Lakel London, who had a solid season last year, who the Falcons brought back. Chris Williams, who's on the edge over there, too, as well, with Zach Harrison. Where are they going to fill this in with Zach Harrison once he comes back from injury? That's going to be something important to watch for. But if you look at it, Falcon fans, if you get closer to the draft and you start to think about it, the Falcons can still go out there and nail the draft picks with getting a defensive tackle. It does not throw out the possibility of landing a Christian Miller. This trade does not throw out the possibility of landing a Caleb Banks or landing a Lee Hunter or even a Darrell Jackson in the later rounds. So Falcon fans that are sitting here right now, I see Silk Legacy's comments still in the chat. Ray 52 as well. Big shout out to Ray 50. So Falcon fans right now that's wondering, why would we trade Rook Aurora in a situation like he was working on a C level with Brandon Dorlus. You can't give him an A grade or a B grade. I think Rook's first year was probably just a little bit better than what we saw previously from Rook 2 as well. And when you trade a guy, honestly, when you trade a guy in today's NFL, this is not just an Ian Cunningham move. You go to the president of football operations. You go to your head coach. You go to your defensive coordinator. I'm sure Tommy Reese doesn't mind about Rook Aurora getting traded. He ain't got shit to do with it. He probably wasn't even in the meeting. But you go to the powers that be that's involved in the people that's closest to Rook Aurora on the staff side and the organizational needs side, and you say, we have to trade one guy who we feel like is not fitting what we're getting ready to do on a defensive scheme side to bring in a guy that we feel is going to be a part of this defensive scheme and who can probably make a bigger impact than what Rook is doing too as well. Some people have called out, the size of Mason Smith being 336 was it? I think his weight, he was just a little bit bigger in weight versus Rook Aurora. And of course, we're looking for those run stuffers, those big bodies in the middle. And when you have a guy like Mason Smith, can he fill that role that Jeff Ulbrich needs? Obviously, somebody signed off on this. We're all shocked. Falcon fans are shocked to see Rook Aurora because when it came to 404 Day a couple weeks ago, Mackie, you was there. A lot of fans were there. 404 Day, Rook was on the microphone talking to fans at Old Ford Ford Park about the future of the Atlanta Falcons, about the new uniforms, talking about restaurants with Variety ATL on the interview, talking about restaurants he likes to go to and certain things. Now Rook is in Jacksonville. And that just goes to show you, we talked about Kyle Pitts. We talked about Jesse Bates. And in a matter of days, Rook gets traded. Falcon fans, we have to prepare for some things that we might not expect happening. And I think this week when it comes to the draft, hearing Kansas City said this is probably one of the most trade-heavy drafts that they've seen in years. I think we need to be prepared for what the Falcons can do. Especially after seeing Root getting traded for Mason Smith. Some people said this was a downgrade. This isn't an upgrade. We talked about bringing in Dexter Lawrence. We go trade for Mason Smith. But once again, Rook wasn't the Ian Cunningham, Kevin Stefanski, Jeff Ulbrich regime. This is something totally new. Does this raise the awareness for Kyle Pitts and Jesse Bates on draft night or before draft night of making a trade? For some, you can say possibly so, because Rook is still a rookie that was under contract that just got traded. Now, I talked to my boy Damsky. I'm not going to say what I told Damsky on air because, behind the scenes, I hear some things. And I respectfully don't say these things because of the fact that I have a true love for the Atlanta Falcons organization. And I would never want to be the one to be the breaker of bad news or say things that has my name tied to it where it's like, Jack, how did you hear that? I talk to people a lot. And a lot of times I don't say what I've heard out of the respect for the player, out of the respect for player family, out of the respect for the organization. But me and Damsky had a little chat the other day, and I shared some information with Damsky, and I trust Damsky even on a level of I haven't even met the brother. But I've shared information with Damsky where I haven't seen him go back and tell anybody because I watch social media from time to time, and I don't see the information that I've told Damsky come out on social media. I don't even see him using that information for his benefit. And I share some information of what I see happen with the Rukarora situation. And Damsky agrees. Because once again, I hear things, I talk to people, and I have a respect for the team. There are certain people that I trust with information. If I ever hear something, if I ever see something, that I would never go out there and tweet about it, that I would never go out there and tag somebody about it. I just keep that respect going. That's why you'll never see me. I ain't gonna do no walking up to somebody with a wire on and be like, hey, bro, let me ask you about the Falcons. Hey, bro, you know about that? Ain't me. People respect me. I respect them because they know that their word is safe with me. I ain't out here running my mouth trying to get clicks and views and all this shit. I don't care about that. We're going to be Falcon fans today. We're going to be Falcon fans tomorrow. And even at the end, when doggone AJ Terrell retires a Falcon and they have to go get another cornerback, I'm still going to be a Falcon fan. 10, 15 years from now, when Bijan Robinson done playing football, I'm still going to be a Falcon fan. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to sit out here and do this for clicks and views, right? I just love talking Falcons football. But the Rukarora trade is something that's very surprising to me. And, of course, when we go back and we check out Scott Karasik, which also congratulations to Scott Karasik. He's welcoming his first child with his amazing wife coming up. I believe it's in the fall or sometime this year. So if you guys talk to Scott Karasik, make sure you guys give him a congratulations and a salute and a shout out because, you know, having your first child is a blessing. And Scott Karasik has his child on the way too as well with his wife. So big shout out to Scott Karasik. And of course, I've had Scott on the show here a couple times. He talks Falcons football the best way he can when it comes to being 100% real about this team. He's not doing it for clicks and views and buzz either. He just loves to talk Atlanta Falcons. I'll never forget the time when I was in England for the Atlanta Falcons Jacksonville Jaguars game a couple years ago. And I'm walking through, I think it's Westminster. I can't remember, over there by one of those parks. What's the name of that park? I can't remember. But it was over there by one of those. What's that building? I forget it. Buckingham Palace. It was over there by Buckingham Palace. And I'm over there taking pictures. This is the day after the game. I'm over there taking pictures, walking around, doing the sightseeing. And I hear somebody, Jack, what's up, man? I'm like, who the hell calling me? I look over. It's Scott Karasik. And he's walking around in flip-flops, which if you guys been to London, those streets, they're not flip-flop like approved walking around like that. But Scott's a real one. You know what I'm saying? Them streets are beat up pretty bad in London. But Scott was just walking around, enjoying a good time with his wife, and once again doing some sightseeing and enjoying a nice, beautiful day in London, because a lot of Falcon fans traveled out there. And of course, I've seen Scott from time to time. So big shout out to Scott Karasik. But Scott Karasik takes the time out of his day to do something like this, the 2026 Falcons depth chart projection. This isn't official. This is his depth chart projection as we have players that's in the building right now. And of course, he puts their 2025 season PFF grades with the color keys. So you can see some colors in blue for free agent signings, the colors in red for who they drafted, undrafted free agents in orange, traded for in green. He really itemizes this pretty well. So big shout out to Scott Karasik for doing this. But as you see right here, even with Mason Smith and Brandon Dorless leading the way up top, Deshaun Hand comes over on a one-year deal. Lakel London back re-signing on a one-year deal. Jalen Walker is your true guy that you know is going to be in the building. James Pierce, until we find out what's up with him, we don't know. You're probably going to have to draft another defensive tackle somewhere here in the middle, because Dorless, surprisingly, stepped up in a major way in his second year that we didn't get a chance to see most in his first year with Raheem. But now we get a chance to see Dorless come back out and shine even better coming off of this injury. So I'm sure Jeff Ober's going to be excited about. But you got to help Jeff Ulbrich a little bit more, Falcons. You let go of Rook Aurora that we didn't get a chance to really see. Not too many fans are happy about the Mason Smith trade because they really haven't got a chance to see a guy who played almost 200 snaps less than Rook Aurora with Jacksonville. My friend from Jacksonville said he's a depth chart guy. Don't rely on him to be a starter. He has to work on his run defending too as well. And that's what my friend from Jacksonville, the Jaguars fan, and he pays attention to everything with the Jaguars. He was asking me about Rook too as well. I gave him the best information I can about Rook. I said, you guys got a dog in Rook, man. You just got to coach him up a little bit better. But it looks like Mason Smith wasn't fitting the scheme of what this new defensive coordinator in Jacksonville was getting ready to cook up. Sends him over here to Atlanta. I don't think we got fleeced because Ian Cunningham had to sign off on this with Matt Ryan and Jeff Ulbrich. So some fans was like, man, we got fleeced. They took our guy. You never know what can happen with players in different circumstances, in different scenarios. And, of course, Mason Smith might, he might improve this year, right? He might step up on a different level being under a guy like Jeff Ulbrich. That we've seen the growth and development from Dorless, and we've seen, of course, Jalen Walker going in his second year being coached by Jeff Ulbrich, and we've seen, of course, Lakel London, what he's done last year too as well, and James Pierce Jr. and some of these guys. I really want to see more of, D'Angelo Malone, stepping up in a major way this year. He's also coming back from injury. And, of course, Berlin Trice, the Berlin Trice sighting of him at OTAs was actually pretty cool to see because we drafted Berlin Trice, up in the higher rounds to see what he can do. And he's just been plagued with injury over the past couple of years. And we do pray that Berlin Trice can be healthy because his college tape, Berlin Trice coming out of Washington, he was a badass. Like, we really need to see Berlin Trice on the field this year. And it has to get past preseason week 3. If you get to week 1 and see Berlin Trice on that roster, it's going to be it's hell to pay for a lot of these teams because Berlin Trice was damn near flushing through left tackles and tight ends at the same time. They couldn't hold this kid in college, right? He was putting up numbers. So we'll get a chance to see that. But you guys head over to Scott Karasik's page and check out this Falcons depth chart projection. We're actually going to come back to this in just a minute here too as well. I don't want to get to the chat and talk with some Falcon fans and see what you guys think about the draft this week and what the Falcons could be able to do. I see we got Hazley in the chat too as well. Zachariah Branch and draftable. Falcons can't afford to bring in a sidewalk blocker. Oh, man, we got something to talk about here when it comes to Zachariah Branch. Let's keep it like this for tonight, Falcon fans. There's no disrespect to Zachariah Branch and his situation because this isn't the Raheem Arthur Smith regime. You never know what could happen with the Atlanta Falcons now with Ian Cunningham and Matt Ryan up there in that front office really holding it down and running the show. We still have to remember the Falcons sent their largest group of scouts and executives down to Georgia to go see some of these players work out. They didn't send it to Alabama. They didn't send them to Duke University. They didn't send them to Florida State. They didn't send them to Texas Tech. They damn near sent everybody. Even Craig was invited. He was a janitor at the time. They even sent damn Craig down there to go see some of the players from the University of Georgia. Ian Cunningham has spoke highly about the University of Georgia. He was on a team a couple years ago that drafted some Georgia players. So it's very much so possible you're going to get a dog in a matter of days here in Atlanta. Now, we joke about it being Oscar Delp, or we joke about it being, a Dylan Bell or somebody in the later rounds. I don't think the Falcons sent everybody down there to go look at an Oscar Dell. You can send your normal. They sent Jeff Ulbrich down there, who was talking to the media at Georgia. CJ Allen is projected to go in the first round, unless the Falcons decide to move up and get a guy like CJ Allen, which I don't think is going to happen. I would definitely be shocked and surprised. You do need another linebacker. Of course, the linebacker situation is kind of thin in that area too as well. Trey Anderson coming back from injury. Not too many fans were happy about J.D. Bertram last year. D'Angelo Malone's not playing too much inside. Hopefully they do get a chance to give him some stunts inside too as well. I remember a long time ago with the Raheem crew that D'Angelo was working on some inside linebacker at practice. But then again, it's totally different now, seeing that he's probably going to be back outside on the edge, knowing that James Pierce Jr. is going through his situation too as well. So Falcon fans, keep that in mind. But the Trey Anderson thing is big because you don't have a guy that you can rely on next to Divine Diablo. When DD went down last year, we were so thin at linebacker. We were so bagged up at linebacker. Raheem and the crew was just trying anything they could to stop the run game. And, of course, San Francisco beat up on us. Miami beat up on us. A couple teams got us really good over the middle, running the ball, and, of course, hitting us in those flat routes and those short zone routes where they was just destroying us because we didn't have a true presence, a true green dot like Divine Diablo. You have to get a player of DD status to help with this defense this year. CJ Allen could be that guy. The problem is CJ Allen's draft stock is so high, I don't see us trading him to the first round up into the top 20 to go get him. Now, I will say this. If you find out CJ Allen is sitting on the board at 26, 27, 28, Falcon fans, I'm telling you right now, I would not be surprised if the Falcons decide to say, you know what, he could be gone first couple picks in the second round, because that's what you don't want to see is a CJ Allen drop back so far in the first round that when they go announce their notable day 2 picks, you see CJ Allen's name at the top of the board. He's going to be off the board very quick. I haven't heard anything negative about CJ Allen. I know his injury towards the end of the Georgia season might weigh down a little bit on his draft stock, but I think his play on the field, his performance, everything else that he has done has shown he is a true first rounder being coached under Kirby Smart. Another guy is Christian Miller, a dog that you can get in the middle to help out in that technique that you need, because you did bring in a Mason Smith that you're not so sure about 100%, that you did bring in a Deshaun Hand on a 1-year deal. These are prove-it deals for some of these guys that you are just unsure about. They are some big bodies. They can help move the line, but you got some people in the draft to look at. Lee Hunter from Texas Tech. You can even get the dude from University of Florida, 6'7", 350-something pound. That boy Caleb Banks, which I do think the ankle injury that people have mentioned could keep him back a little bit. But he still has almost, 5 months to go before the season starts. So we do hope that if the Falcons do draft for Caleb Banks, they're going to put the right strength and conditioning and performance coaches around him so that way he can rehab quickly and be ready to go for a training camp. There's a lot of players who are still rehabbing right now to get back ready and in the groove for a training camp, such as a Billy Bowman, such as a Michael Penix, even D'Angelo Malone too as well, is almost, I believe, at 100% ready to go for training camp. And these are the guys who are going to be fighting for these roster spots. 53-man is going to be out, 6 months from now? So they have a lot of time to recover and recoup and be back to 100%. So let's just all wish the best for some of these players as they go through their rehab. But CJ Allen, that's a name to watch for if you want to attack linebacker at 48. If you're not going linebacker at 48 or moving up, I don't see the Falcons going anywhere else outside of CJ Allen. Probably in the later rounds, there's a couple guys they looked at. But 48 for the Falcons right now, for me, is not a linebacker. It's definitely going to be a defensive tackle or a wide receiver. Just looking at the Falcons roster right now, just looking at what Scott Karisic put up on the board. And let's get to the chat to see what y'all talking about. It's a lot of people in here tonight, a lot of people. So bring those questions, bring those comments, man. We can talk Falcons football all night. King Atlanta supporter said the Falcons moving in silence, something I love because you won't know what's going on. That is true. That is true. A lot of people show their hand early before the draft starts. Falcons are still playing it safe, making sure that whatever team they're in talks with behind the scenes haven't leaked any information. Or, of course, the Jacksonville trade randomly came up out of nowhere. Not too many people. Big shout to Berto. I know on his show recently, I know Bro Talk had retweeted it and reposted it, that they mentioned a player for a player trade. A lot of times, especially looking at the Kyle Pitts situation and the Jesse Bates situation, we were calling names early to find out if these guys were tradable. And then Ian Cunningham was like, gotcha. We're going to go trade Rook. So be very, very careful, Falcon fans, with what the Falcons could do this week. And don't be shocked because Ian Cunningham is evaluating the roster still. He's evaluating it. He's looking at it and he's saying, look, these are the guys that can fit what we want. We're going to build a championship contending team. We're going to build a team to go win the NFC South. And I hope you guys are going to be proud of it. Best of luck to Rook Aurora on his journey for where he's going in the NFL. But he's no longer an Atlanta Falcon. Mason Smith now is in his spot. So, of course, Hazley in the chat said Jarrett and Terrell are the only good Clemson defenders. As you can see, Hazley HFW in here, not really on the side of, Rook Aurora is going to be a legend from Clemson or anything. Grady Jarrett, as we can see, he's going to be probably Falcons Ring of Honor when he retires. He's now off to the Chicago Bears. And, of course, the Bears had a solid season, too, as well. A.J. Terrell being from Clemson, too, as well, being from the Georgia area. That's the cool thing about it. Grady and A.J. is both from the Atlanta area. And they went on to Clemson and, of course, went on to playing for the Atlanta Falcons. So could the Falcons go target Avion Terrell, too, as well, which is A.J. Terrell's little brother in the later rounds, and ended up pairing him with his big brother, A.J. Terrell. That is something to watch for. So as we drop these names in the chat, just take your notes, Falcon fans, because these are some people to watch for. Iron Mike is in the chat with the what up, y'all. Big shout out to Iron Mike in the chat. Winston Thornton's in the chat. He says Smith, I believe, will be more effective than Rook. Only reason he was drafted after Rook was injuries, and that's something to monitor. This move doesn't change our draft board, though. So even of me speaking about, the Falcons, this doesn't change up. Oh, they got Mason Smith now. No defensive tackle. No. They still have that probably as a priority within the first two picks. And Winston Thornton, as you can see from his comment, definitely agrees with that too as well. As he says, Smith is 306. Rook was like 289 or something. A couple more pounds to pack on. The muscle, the weight, the size, the body mass, that stuff does play into a fact of when, you need a big body in the middle, going up against some of these centers, going up against some of these guards and so forth. And however, Jeff Ober is going to be scheming up Mason Smith. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen there. King of Atlanta's supporter says Smith better be ready. Maggie T, that is right. Root gave Maggie his chain. Not my crew saying I'm the reason he was let go. No, give that chain back, Maggie. Maggie, give that chain back. You see, I'm so Atlanta, man. We drinking Coca-Cola, man. Come on. Maggie, give that chain back. What's it, you, Maggie? What did you say to Root? What was Root's last words at 404 a day with you, Maggie? Tell us in the chat. Big shout out to Maggie T. Lady Birds in the chat. Make sure I go over there and check that channel out too as well. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. J Kid said, after watching Avion's video, Smith gets washed out a lot. You've guys seen players, and big shout out to Avion too. I know he does a lot of breakdowns. You guys have seen players have bad first runs with the team that they previously played with, go over to a different team and have a better run. The tackle we just got from Kansas City has about, I think, double the amount of false starts that Elijah Wilkinson had in the previous seasons and so forth. He now comes in to possibly be the starting tackle. What you saw in Kansas City could be totally different here in Atlanta with the coaching and the preparation and the practice, and of course, getting these guys mentally and physically prepared to go out there and play football with a team like the Atlanta Falcons. Bill Callahan is now on the offensive line as the coach. Bill Callahan being one of the best in the business. It's probably going to take a little bit of what Jawan Taylor learned, not only at Florida, but what Jawan Taylor learned in Kansas City. Turn that around and mesh it and mix it with what Bill Callahan has been through with his previous teams. And of course, what he wants to run here in Atlanta. But make no mistake, Bill Callahan is one of the best offensive line coaches that we have seen in this game today. So Jawan Taylor having those false start situations, having those penalties from previous years, let's hope he can clean that up when you have a coach like Bill Callahan. So goes for Mason Smith, less snap count than Rook Aurora. Some of his tape that fans have probably seen online, he's chasing after the ball. Running backs are flying through the gap right past him. He's chasing after the damn running back. Sometimes he looks lost in the sauce. That can all change when you have a JPJ next to you, a Jalen Walker next to you, a Divine Diablo behind you, and AJ Terrell on the side with a Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts in the backfield. Those pressures can come from all over. Look at Lakel London last year, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Lakel London. That is prime example of a guy the previous year who, honestly, for some fans would say he didn't live up to what they wanted Lakel London to live up to be. And I'm not saying he was going to be a Grady Jarrett playing in that position, or he was going to be some of these top defensive tackles in that position. But under Jeff Ulbricht's scheme, under Nate Ollie's guidance and coaching, he was able to come away with, I think, 4.55 sacks. And that just goes to a player who is ready to work on himself, that is ready to build to get better. So be prepared for when you see a guy like Mason Smith this year actually blowing up those A gaps and getting into the backfield for those tackle for losses and shutting down run stops to where the running back is like, oh shit, I got this big 306-pound guy coming in. And if you put him on the line with a Lakel London and even a Caleb Banks, 340, 50 pounds, 6'7", 6'8", pure muscle. Did you see Caleb Banks' tape? Imagine them on that line. Them is some movers, man. Them is some big stuffers. You got to watch out for these guys if they go draft a guy like Caleb Banks. It's the players that you're going to put around you. And here's another thing too, right? So I work at a job where some days your team, whoever's in charge, the lead, it can mess you up, right? Some days it could be very difficult because of the people that's around you. But then some days it can be much better due to the fact of who is with you out there. So he might not have that same production if he's sitting there next to a Deshaun Hand or an Elijah Garcia. But if you put him out there with Lakel London's performance from the year before, sitting next to a Brandon Dorless, with Zach Harrison coming back, with a JPJ, a Jalen Walker playing all over the field, it's going to be some magnificent things that can happen. So just be prepared to see a different Jawan Taylor this year, hopefully with the false starts and the penalties, and of course a different Mason Smith too as well. I think we should be prepared to see a totally different impact from what these guys can do. Ray 50's in the chat said Ian Cunningham is expected to talk to the media sometime before the draft starts. Does anybody have a set day? Usually for the Falcons media, these conferences are usually Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. Then again, we don't work for the organization. They can do it Thursday, the morning of the draft. I don't think they probably will do it Thursday because they're going to be super busy, on in the war room. But then again, they don't have a draft pick for Thursday right now. So on the lower side of the scale, Thursday, which I don't think they're going to do. On the higher side of the scale, tomorrow or Wednesday. If you don't hear nothing tomorrow at 1, 2 o'clock, be prepared for Wednesday for them to have their media fan talk about what is going to happen with their draft expectations and what they can get set to do. So big shout out to Ray 50 in the chat. Hayes in the chat said, imagine if the Falcons didn't always miss in the second round. Yeah, it happens with some teams, man. It definitely happens. Definitely happens. Braves 4-2. Let's go check this out here. I know we talked about it when the show started. Keep us updated on what the Braves are doing. Top of the 6, Braves 4, Philadelphia 2. And of course, we have Drake Baldwin at the mound right now. Let's see, 0-2 count. Big shot to Drake Baldwin. You got 2 on right now, 1 out. Let's see Drake Baldwin. Drake Baldwin's actually been on fire this year. So this is your quick Braves talk as we take a quick break from the Atlanta Falcons for a second here. Take a sip of my Coca-Cola because I'm so Atlanta. Let's see what Drake Baldwin can do here. 0-2 count, 1 out, 2 on. Acuna is on first. Michael Harris is on second. Acuna is leading off right now. I think, it's going to be – oh, did he go down swinging? Did he strike him out? What just happened? Oh, foul ball? Okay, foul ball. So, yeah, Braves are on right now. NBA playoffs are on right now. Winston Thornton said, I think the baby is due in October. Congratulations to Scott and his fam. As we mentioned that earlier, Scott Karasik getting ready to – oh, Drake Baldwin. Okay. 2 outs. 2 outs. But we did advance a runner. Looks like Michael Harris advanced the third here. So now we got runners on first and third. Matt Olson is at bat. Matt Olson, I believe, has an 11-game win, a hit streak right now. He's 0-3 today. But he did score an RBI. I wonder if he got walked earlier. Let's see what happened here. See what's going on with Matt Olson. Oh, he grinded into a fielder's choice in the 5th. Braves bats are hot right now. The bats are hot. They are getting ready to probably score again. And this is a situation for the Braves where they beat up on the Marlins the other night. Now they're beating up on the Phillies. You got to keep that run going against teams that's in your conference and in your division. Because as you can see, the Mets, who everybody was expecting, they're paying these guys $500 million to be a good team. The Mets are on a, 10-game losing streak right now. It's over for the Mets. I joke with my Mets friends from time to time about when they're going to get another win. And they keep saying, don't worry, it's the springtime. We'll worry about the Mets in the fall. You don't need to worry about the Mets in the fall because they suck. But Matt Olson on the mound. Yeah. Somebody here? Hold on 1 second. Yeah, it's my bad, y'all. Somebody's at my front door, so I got to take care of something. I got my kids handling business right now. Yeah, so Falcon fans, as you can see right here, we're back from our quick break when it comes to the Falcons and the Braves in this Atlanta talk. So Ray 50's in the chat. He said, do y'all think Penix participates in OTAs on Tuesday? I don't think Penix participates in OTAs. If you're going to get out there and do some walkthroughs, that's perfectly fine. I personally don't believe he's at 100%. Right? And this is not you got the inside jack. No, this is just straight up. I personally don't believe he's at 100%. I think he's working towards being at training camp, not being at OTAs. And until you get that doctor's note, until you get that clearance that says you are not even 100%, 200% in Michael Penix's situation, because he's been banged up in previous years. Out of the 8 seasons of him playing football altogether, 5 of them have been him Oh, Matt Olson got out. Did he get struck out? Yeah, he got struck out. Braves still 4-2 going to the bottom of six. But yeah, Matt Olson being in not Matt Olson, what the hell? Michael Penix being in the situation where the Falcons could have went to just bringing Trevor Siemian. They could have went to go draft the guy they want to develop in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, but they didn't do that. They brought in Tua for a reason. And for the ones that can hate it or love it, Tua has proven to be a quarterback in the league. We can joke about the concussions and the injuries all day. Even Tua joked about it and said he has to learn how to slide more. He has to learn how to not take so many hits. And we mentioned that. You got Kevin Stefanski's type of offense to where you're going to add max protection in certain situations where you're going to have to protect Tua on those blindside play action rollouts on plays where we know Tua can get hurt. And of course, in the NFL, you saw with Michael Penix, it randomly happens, right? No player just steps on the field, unless you're the Saints when it comes to Bounty Gate. No player just steps on the field and just automatically knows, I'm going to go over there and hit that guy and injure him and mess up his career. A lot of this stuff happens when players are not sliding correctly. Jackson Dart took some really good hits as the Giants quarterback last year. Russell Wilson has won Super Bowls, took some hits. Patrick Mahomes has won 2-3 rings already, and look at him. He's torn up with an ACL right now. So it happens. Tua knows he has to slide. He has to be able to evade tackles a little bit better, go out of bounds instead of trying to lean your shoulder and get the first down. And some of these guys are getting them with the late hits too as well. And with Tua's concussion situation, people have joked about it. He's a concussion away from not playing no more. Michael Penix's injury situation is very tough too as well, because we can call it a partial tear if y'all want. It doesn't seem like that. 9 months going on to close to 10 and a half. That's a full recovery. And who's to say that, he'll be ready by Tuesday after the injury happening in November and him going through surgery and everything. You want to try to keep him out as best as you can, even up until the spring, late spring, going into the summer, going into those open to the public practices when, he's over there wearing the red jersey. Don't hit him. Don't push him. Just let the man focus on the playbook. But the Falcons brought in Tua because they have an opportunity in the worst division in the NFL to go and win the division with a guy who has proven to put up numbers even in a bad organization like the Miami Dolphins. You could have brought in Gardner Minshew if you realized, hey, or turn the keys over to Michael Penix as soon as he's ready. That's why the open competition thing came out, and now fans are looking at it like, oh, wow, you guys didn't say that at first, because they didn't know the timetable of Michael Penix, and that's why they brought him to it now. That's why it's an open competition. But how fair is it going to be when your quarterback that you brought in from Miami, who has proven numbers, is going through the playbook, is reviewing all this stuff this week and last week and the week before, and the quarterback that you had before is rehabbing and trying to get back to 100%? It's totally different. And even for me, if you're a head coach, you got to move forward with what's in front of you. I'm not being rude or disrespectful. I'm trying to win some games here. I'm just trying to win some games. All right. King of Atlanta supporters in the chat said, praying for Atlanta to win everything. Big shout out to King of Atlanta supporter. We got some people in here. What is this? We're going to start. I don't know. It might be, you got some spam in here talking about vote for this and all that. Don't click on these pages, y'all. I just went ahead and put another one on the ban list. So we'll find out who that is and make sure we get that page banned. But don't click on anything. But yeah, big shout out to J Kid. He said, with so many new pieces on defense, I just hope they can mesh quickly. And every team in the NFL is going through the same thing, J Kid, because it's the offseason, right? The Bengals just brought in Dexter Lawrence. They got to hope that he can mesh quickly to this team. Do the Bengals believe that they're going to the Super Bowl now because they brought in Dexter Lawrence? They brought in a big key piece on their defense and their defensive line, yes. But all around, outside of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they still have a lot of rebuilding to do. That team is not that good in that division. I think the Ravens still hold control of that division. And even with Joe Burrow's health, he needs to be 100% healthy. He sat out for games last year where here comes the backup quarterback. Jamar Chase was unhappy a couple times too as well. So Dexter Lawrence can look good on film, and you pay him big money, and he got a nickname that kind of fits what he does on the field. Next thing you know, they're out there going 8-9, and they miss the playoffs. So we do hope that every team, every player, not every team, but the Atlanta Falcons, every player on this team can mesh well. When we brought in James Pierce Jr., I don't think fans expected to see that 10.5 sacks. Archangel said, I'm pulling Trice. I feel something special about this kid. Trice is nasty. He is a solid player. Go back and look at Braylon Trice's tape. It's been almost 2.5, going on 3 years since we had a chance to even speak about this guy's name as much as we've been speaking about it, because all the tape we saw is when he was drafted, went to the summer, got injured, comes back the next year, everybody's excited again, goes to preseason, first month, gets injured. Now we're back again in year 3 with the kid, and fans are like, hey, if he makes the 53, this is the Braylon Trice we want to see. And right now, I'm glad to see the kid working out at OTAs with his team, with players that he wanted to play with. Now he's there with Jalen Walker. James Pierce Jr. wasn't there, but I'm telling you, a Braylon Trice and James Pierce Jr., that's going to be – don't get Braylon Trice at 100% with James Pierce Jr. back. I don't know who they going to block. I think fans are looking at this defense. Matter of fact, fans of other teams, media from other outlets are looking at the Falcons like they don't have a defense as strong as they think. Don't let these jokers come back out here healthy. Azeez and Samuel Ebukam, you're talking about sacks. You're talking about pressure. You're talking about getting to the quarterback. You're talking about tackles for loss in the backfield. You're talking about 1st and 10 is turning into 2nd and 17 in a heartbeat. You're talking about 2nd and 6 is turning into 3rd and 11. There's so many blitzes and pressures that Jeff Ulbrich can dial up with some of these players that he has on this team. The one thing that we have to look at is a lot of these players are injured or coming back from injury. And I have to point this out here because that's why I think defense, and they can talk about the trenches all they want. We totally understand that. But I think defense is one of the biggest focuses when it comes to this draft this week. Because let's go over this. Brandon Dorlus is coming back from injury. Right? Zach Harrison is coming back from injury. Samson Ebukam is coming back from injury. Azeez Ojulari is coming back from injury. Braylon Trice is coming back from injury. DeAndre Malone is coming back from injury. James Pierce Jr. is dealing with his situation. Billy Bowman is coming back from injury. That's a lot. Troy Anderson is coming back from injury. If I'm not mistaken, Christian Harris was banged up too as well last year. There's a lot of players the Falcons have on this defense where we're like, oh, man, I know these are prove-it deals for these guys. Yes, that is true. But some of these guys are banged up. Respectfully. But that's why it's not week 5 or week 6 and it's like, oh, my God, we got to go sign somebody off the street. It's April 19th. These guys have so many seconds, hours, minutes, weeks, months. They got so much time to get back healthy. That's why you got to love the offseason. That's why you got to love the offseason. Ankle issue is scary. Feel like Banks will be the Troy Anderson of 2026. That's something to watch for too as well with the ankle injury for Caleb Banks. Look, I just mentioned Damski. Remember I was just talking so highly of Damski? Remember I was just talking so just on a great note of just who this guy is? Remember I just mentioned that I talked to Damski about certain things that I know Damski for sure don't go out there and retweets and goes out there and just says in the public eye because he's out there looking for, oh, I heard this from Jack Spade or tag him. Damski don't say that. I trust my dog with that. I trust Damski with that because Damski's a guy of knowledge. He's a guy of good football impact and good football faith. He knows the game very well. So even if I tell Damski something, if I tell Big Low Country something, if I tell my boy T Will something, they understand what we're talking about. We're not being rude or disrespectful when we say some of these things, but we hear it, we hear it. I know about it. I'm gonna say it to the people that I trust is not gonna go back and say anything. If I hear something tonight about something that's about to happen, I might hit Damski up, I might hit Country and be like, yo, let me tell you what I just heard. You might want to hear this. And it just happens. It just happens. Big shout out to Damski in the chat. Coy Bishop's in the chat, man. Good to have Coy Bishop back in here. He said, rise up, damn it. Big shout out to Coy Bishop back in the chat. Josh Gilliam's in the chat. So I think with the Smith trade, we're going right tackle with the first pick. And then you address a position that for Jawan Taylor now, he has to go look at his situation and say, they brought in a guy in the second round that can take my spot. Or they brought in a guy in the second round that they know I'm on a prove-it deal. I could be off to a different team next year, and this young man could end up being the starter next season. Or it's a depth move. For me personally, Josh, I need to treat my second-round pick. Falcon fans, you can agree or disagree. I need to treat my second-round pick like my first-round pick because I don't have one. I need my second-round pick on the field week 1. It's that key. It's that important. It's that critical for the Atlanta Falcons to have their second-round pick on the field. Look at the roster. It's right here in front of you, the projected roster so far. And we got to bring in so many guys and X, Y, and Z. Look at the wide receiver room. Drake London, Chris Blair. Everybody has ranted and raved about Chris Blair. He does great things in the preseason and in camp and all the X, Y's, and Z's in the offseason. But the Falcons have still yet to elevate him on a level that we can really see the real Chris Blair. And I do hope that they do. Jahan Dotson, who has his ties with Philadelphia from years ago, who knows Ian Cunningham too as well. It's probably Ian move by bringing in the Jahan. Casey Washington, who was on stage with Ruka Roar the other day at 404 Day talking about the new jerseys. Has Casey lived up to what you guys wanted as a wide receiver right now? Some people can say I haven't seen Casey on that level. It's true. Devin Tompkins, who I think could be something special in this offense if the Falcons decide to use him in certain packages. He's a speedster. He quicks. He gets in and out of breaks fast. Those cover threes that I seen him get in between last year was actually pretty good. He did a decent job. I think it was the Jets game and the game after that. I think Devin Tompkins was out there doing his thing. And he can also probably fight for a kick return spot too as well. So it's something to watch for. You also have Dylan Drummond, wide receiver, who possibly could make some noise in the offseason with the Falcons. So that way he might even be elevated to be on the 53. Alameda Zaccheaus that's been here before, but now he is back with the Atlanta Falcons. But, of course, I thought I'm sorry, somebody came into the house. Alameda Zaccheaus with this wide receiver room. We just haven't seen the full wide receiver core. And I do think that's why a Zachariah Branch or even a Bryce Lance or even a Kevin Coleman from Missouri or even a Skylar Bell or a Malachi Fields or the young man from Oklahoma can probably help elevate this team. A tackle in the second round when he's watching that starting lineup left and right go out there and battle every single play. And, of course, you've seen the consistency of some of these players on the starting line. Lindstrom has battled in there for game after game. Bergeron has been battling in there. Newziel, Jake Matthews is going on, I think, one of his longest consecutive starts in NFL or Falcons history. I just need to see my player from second round on the field. Second, third, fourth, I need to see them on the field. It's really crucial to see that, because especially with this draft not being so star favorite, not being so heavy on, oh, this guy's going to be, a diamond in the rough. You can get you a Zachariah Branch who can elevate your wide receiver room. You can get you a Lee Hunter from Texas State that can elevate your defensive tackle room. You can get you a cornerback from, I think it was, what was that? What's that corner's name? Not Avion Terrell. It's the other guy. Damn, I forgot his name. Damn. I was on a roll here, but you can get some guys that elevate your room, linebackers too as well. I think even Jacob Rodriguez was a guy who could possibly be in the second round, that he could help out in multiple ways with this type of defense from Jeff Ulbrich. Dambsky says Smith wasn't in the right system. He was drafted for Nielsen, who was originally there, who runs a similar gap shooting system as Nate Ali. Also, Rook literally got benched on rundowns. And Falcon fans, we've seen that from time to time where it was like, is Rook in the game? Where is Rook? Where is he at? We know where he is. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Winston Thornton's in the chat said, I would say that even including TF last 2 seasons, the Falcons have been intentional with the defense and not creating another scenario like Grady with no help for years. And I love to see it. Winston Thornton also said, I do think I heard that we will be having a presser tomorrow. So that's cool. We get a chance to see some pre-draft note evaluation of what the Falcons want to do. They're not going to give away anything special about, oh, yeah, we're going to go strictly wide receiver or cornerback. These are just table talks from the Falcons and the media so they can just understand Ian Cunningham's direction of Mason Smith, or Ian Cunningham's direction of some of the players he might have brought in for workouts. That's all standard NFL draft notes and coverage. You ain't gonna hear nothing special. Now, I will say this. If you get somebody from the Falcons media asking 100 questions about Christian Miller, then that is something to watch for. I don't think we're going to get that. The questions should be really vanilla based, where it's just like super bland. Hey, what do you guys think about the young man from Missouri? Oh, he's a good player. We interviewed him. What do you guys think about the kid from Georgia Tech? He's a great player. We interviewed him. You guys sent a lot of people down to Georgia. What are you guys looking at? We've known Kirby Smart to have a good team. They have some good players. Super. It's a small type of presser where I'm not expecting to hear a lot from this organization when it comes to who they're going to draft in this presser. I will say in previous years, we was able to put our eggs in one basket for who we believe they're going to draft. Fans are split up between the key BPA. Hear that? The key BPA. In the past, we knew looking at the running back room of Bijan was needed. Looking at the wide receiver room of Drake London was needed. Some were shocked to see the Kyle Pitts move, but a tight end was needed. Right now, Falcon fans, right now, and there's a bunch of y'all there's a bunch of y'all in this chat right now. It's a lot of y'all in this chat. Falcon fans, defensive tackle is very important for this team right now. Look at the projections that Scott Karistic has right now. Mason Smith, some of these guys are on prove it deals. Lakel London is prove it. Deshaun Hand is prove it. Mason Smith is prove it. Brandon Dorlus is coming back from injury. Elijah Garcia, you guys don't know about. You might have to make that move to get a 3T or a 1T in the middle. A big body. A guy that Jeff Ulbrich can say, look what we did with James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker last year from drafting them. Jeff Ulbrich's going to have to go in that room and say, please draft me a defensive tackle that I can use the way that you saw me use those linebackers. Please get me somebody else in the middle. We've talked about in the trenches. This is in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball. You guys talked about it. The Falcons are probably listening, and they're probably going to respond this weekend by drafting a big body in the middle. Look at what else we have in the wide receiver room I just broke down. Running back is not at 48. Quarterback is not at 48. Tight end right now, unless you're trading Kyle tomorrow morning, it is not at 48. And even with this offensive line and with the backups, these backups have been on the team for a minute outside of Corey Levin. Andrew Stuber's been here. Storm Norton's been here. He's coming back from injury. Kyle Hinton's been here. Jack Nelson's been here. They can always get offensive tackles in the third, fourth, and fifth round that's going to sit on the bench and wait and watch. Or even in the fifth, sixth, seventh round. Sit on the bench, wait for your turn. We'll see you in training camp. We'll see you when it's time to put the pads on. But we need some guys that Falcon fans are going to be ranting and raving about on Friday afternoon or Friday evening that the Falcons just drafted this guy. And that for me is a wide receiver. That for me is a defensive tackle. That for me is a linebacker. That's what I'm seeing right now. Corner, maybe at 48. Maybe. We'll see. Like Solid said, Michael Penix 9 has a playbook. What it do? If he has the playbook, that's even better. The camp competition battle is real. And for a head coach who did not draft this guy, for a head coach that sat in the room with Matt Ryan, Arthur Blank, Ian Cunningham, Rich McKay, Ian Cunningham, and the rest of the staff who's able to put the thumbs up in the majority vote, they all went and got Tua. That, for me, screams he's probably going to be on the field week 1. That's what I'm saying. Respectfully. Archangel said Billy Bowman coming back, Dorless coming back, Zach Harrison coming back. I forget about Zach Harrison. There's so many people banged up. Got to watch for this. We got to watch for this, ladies and gentlemen. Falcons coming back with a bunch of banged up players. Eric Z's in the chat with the happy Sunday. Big shout out to Eric Z in the chat. Eric Z also says, give me a defensive tackle, wide receiver, a linebacker at 48. I didn't even read these comments yet. Fans are looking at the roster and clearly seeing what is needed. It's just the truth. It's the truth. And I personally need to see my 48th player as a diehard Atlanta Falcon fan who just paid his season tickets. I need to see my 48th player on the field week 1. And that is a defensive tackle, that is a wide receiver, and that is a linebacker. My boy Dempsey's in the chat. He said, bro, this shit stresses me out because remember when we had no round 1 pick and we drafted Jimmy Smith? Oh, God. Dempsey's taking us back, bro. Tamsky is taking us back. That's why it's good to have a football knowledge head like Damsky in the chat. He talks ball. Damsky, those bro talks, those Birdos, those countries, they talk ball, man. A1s. Big shout out to them, man. Eric Z, man. Linebacker is a sneaky need, especially with the Guardian cap. Still on this team. Oh, that's tough. That's tough, Eric Z. And we're not talking about the Guardian cap, like that's the, the safety requirements for some of these players. You know what Eric Z know what he's talking about. We know what player it is. Lisa Shepard's in the chat. If he is smart, he would take a plea deal. Having Rakia share more details about her experiences with him will likely only make things worse. Lisa, I'm gonna tell you something straight up. And this is not oh, Jack, what did you hear? I didn't hear nothing. But I'm just telling you what I see. As much as the information came out when it first started, boom, 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 boom. James Pierce, Rakia, James Pierce. Look how much it's slowly starting to not get swept under the rug, but just slowly start to fade away. Right? I do think that he's going to get hit with some type of penalty. I don't think it's going to be jail time. We were so heavy on that when it first happened. He's not playing another down with the Falcons. Zero tolerance with these Atlanta Falcons. It won't happen. The boy James Pierce Jr. is probably going to be wearing that brand new Falcons uniform around week 4, week 5. And this Atlanta, and I'm not on his side of what he did. So don't say Jack Spade. You just want to see the boy play ball. I know that some fans are going to see James Pierce Jr. get around that tackle and make that sack, and they're going to say, 4th down, baby. Just like that. Just like that. Straight up. Because like we said on this channel before, the Falcons release him, another team is going to pick him up and they're gonna dust that off quickly. Oh yeah, what he did, that's messed up. That's really messed up. He's going through the process of rehabilitation, and we got some people in there to help him out. And we're gonna mentor him. We're gonna take good care of him. We're gonna make sure we keep a really good eye on him. That's what they're gonna say if we release him and another team picks him up. That's Jerry Jones be right there in the media. Oh, that James Pierce Jr. guy, he had some troubles in Atlanta, but we don't have them troubles down here in Dallas. That's exactly what he's going to say. Tell y'all. And then he's off to Dallas. Y'all going to sit up there and say, damn, James Pierce Jr. got 13 sacks in 9 games. Damn. Still a bad thing what he did. Not agreeing with it at all. But I do think the Falcons are not in the beginning, it was like Arthur Blank's finna slam the book on this kid. It's finna get ugly. Now, a month or two later, ever since it's happened, it's like, they just waiting on the damn league to go ahead and hit him with the doggone couple game suspension. Young kid, get his mind right. I don't know if he has went through the self-awareness program or the the need to get better. I forget what they call it. It's when you're having some problems with mental health and things, like they send you these programs, and so that way when you go in front of the judge, it's like, oh, look what I did. Look at my certificate type shit. But it's something that they're going to definitely work on as this thing is starting to play out. So just be prepared for that. Did I see James Pierce Jr. not playing for the Falcons when it first happened? Yes, I was on T. Will's show saying everything about Arthur Blank's zero tolerance policy about players that have been in trouble and what they would do to these type of players. 2 months later, I'm sitting here like, he's gonna play. He's gonna play. Jay Kids in the chat said Braves 4-2, top of the 7th. I'm watching it right now. I see who's at the mound. Kyle Schwarber's up there, so you got to get Schwarber out. It's 2 outs, 2 strikes, 1 ball. Schwarber's a hitter. He's 2 for 3 on the night too, as well with an RBI. I think they're trying to throw away from him so that way he can chase one, which I'm probably sure he's going to chase one because Schwarber damn near swings at flipping every single ball that's even in the range of the box. The first 2 balls that they threw, one was up top, one was sliding down, going toward the dirt, and looked like he was only getting ready to check swing that one. But when you're down 2 against the Braves, Schwarber's probably going to end up popping this one out, or he's going to swing looking. So this is your quick Braves talk here. And I talk Braves too as well with a lot of the Braves fans. I talk Hawks. I just keep it strictly Falcons, but I love my Braves baseball. I love my Atlanta Hawks too as well. See, they just threw another one right there. Come on, Lee, what are you doing? What are you doing, my boy? Dylan, don't come over here messing this up. You don't want Schwarber on. Oh, shit. They're going to show Bryce Harper's next. Yeah, Bryce Harper's in the box, too, as well. You don't want to put Schwarber on with Bryce Harper coming up. He can change the game and tie it up. So they keep throwing another one away. Oh, they just walked him. Yeah, you can't. They try to get Schwarber chasing these pitches. I'm guessing the Phillies batting coach was like, they're trying to throw low and outside. They're trying to throw up and high into the sky. Don't swing after it because he check swinged that first one. I saw him look down the third base line. Their batting coach was like, don't chase it. So, and there goes, look, first one right there, Bryce Harper they went low and outside on a changeup, and Bryce Harper went ahead and swung at that one. So that was going to be Schwarber. He did the same thing again. They threw a slider right inside on him. Hit him with a slider less than 90 miles per hour. He's already swinging the bat, trying to aim for the fences. which is what you don't want. You can not. Bryce Harper's the type of guy on this third pitch, he can honestly strike out. Like, see, they're going to throw it outside to him. He hit the foul ball. 3 pitches already for Bryce Harper, and he's already swinging for the fences. This one right here, I would send one inside, probably close to his stomach, a little bit right there, let the catcher slide over a little bit, so that way they can easily just get him on a check swing, or even it'll be like a low ground ball hit where Ozzie will probably pick it up and keep it moving, and they can go ahead and get the out. Now they're throwing up and outside to him. So we'll get through this inning before we continue with this Falcons podcast. I'm watching the Braves. But send one inside. Dylan, you got to trust it. Don't worry about who the hit. Don't worry about who the hitter is. Send one inside. Literally, send one inside. He's 1 for 2 today. Send one in. Catch this guy swinging. Easy. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Got him. Good job, Braves. You should have shot with the Go Braves. Eric Z says, at least we don't have homeboy Wilkerson anymore on the line. For those that do not know, there was members of the Wilkerson family who used to jump into the podcast in the chat. So that's why I didn't purposely go off and say anything rude or disrespectful. I know his dad. I know his brother. So I don't want to be rude, disrespectful. I heard what we said about the Atlanta Falcons. I've met Elijah a few times. So I didn't want to go off like that. And I still know his dad, and I still know his brother. So sad what he did, what he said. J Kid said, what section are you in, Jack, or anyone in the chat? For the Falcons? For what? What do you mean, what section? I'm in for what? Eric Z said fair, but I'll go off on him. Yeah, there you go. Do you think? Yeah, can you talk about for the Falcons? If you're talking about for the Falcons, I'm in the club. I'm right there behind the bench. Yeah, I'm right there behind the bench. I'm in 108. Right there behind the bench, my boy. Let's see, man. Let's see what we got, man. Go ahead and wrap this thing up with something that I think everybody wants to talk about. We're getting ready to wrap this show up here. Something very important that happened over the weekend, Falcon fans. Zachariah Branch. It seems like once a month or maybe even twice a week, a Georgia player gets arrested for something. And this one, I think right here is a little bit ridiculous. Zachariah Branch, we saw the video. Oh, excuse me, that Coca-Cola hit real Atlanta. We saw the video of Matt Ryan and a lot of the members of the Falcons staff speaking to Zachariah Branch back during Georgia's Pro Day earlier this year, when the Falcons sent everybody from the catering company to the security team to the janitorial staff to go look at Georgia's Pro Day for some of these players that they could possibly look at drafting. Zachariah Branch was one of them. Now today, Tom Pelissaro, Adam Scheffner, a lot of these people that work in the media, we have a police report from Zachariah Branch, who, as you can see here, Falcon fans, who was arrested while standing on a public sidewalk for not moving far enough when a police officer asked him to move. And this is the wild thing right here, right? Let's go over the police report, and then we'll look at, is this still in a situation where the Falcons shouldn't draft this guy because of this police report? And it says, a male later identified as Zachariah Branch continued to stand on the sidewalk without making an attempt to move. I continue to give, and this is coming from the police officer, I continue to give Zachariah Branch verbal commands to move from blocking the sidewalk and advised that if he did not, he would receive a citation for blocking the sidewalk. I haven't used this all day. Let's just use this once. Bruh. Once again, let me close this tab. Let me close this tab. The police officer said, I continued to give Zachariah Branch verbal commands to move from blocking the sidewalk and advised that if he did not, he would receive a citation for blocking the sidewalk. Bruh. For blocking the sidewalk. Zachariah Branch then stepped backwards and to the right, then remained standing upon the public sidewalk, so as to obstruct, hinder, and impede free passage upon the sidewalk, as well as impede free ingress/egress to or from the adjacent place of business. Due to those actions and Zachariah Branch's failure to comply with multiple verbal lawful commands, he was placed under arrest for misdemeanor obstruction of a Leo and received a citation for obstructing public sidewalks. Bro, come on. Like, come on, man. Well, I tell you, this for me as a Falcon fan, and when I heard about the report because it came out and I saw it, it said Zachariah Branch arrested, and I said, no. Please don't tell me you did something ridiculous. Please don't tell me the Falcons going to kick you off of your radar or off of their radar for this. For me, this does not scream Falcons won't draft him. I still have him on our radar. The biggest thing for me is the Falcons sent every single person that they could that was in that building at Flowery Branch and Craig with the mob down to the University of Georgia for that pro day. The largest group of Falcons organization and staff members heading down. I don't know if it was on a team bus. I don't know if they all drove there. They all have VIP parking. I don't know if they met up for lunch or breakfast and then they ran up in there. They sent the largest group to the University of Georgia to go watch who they wanted to, I believe, get drafted here by the Falcons one day this week. I would be shocked and surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if a University of Georgia player is not selected by the Atlanta Falcons this week. I still think, even with this police report, I believe that Branch is still on the radar for the Falcons. This isn't him speeding away from the police in a high-speed chase. This isn't him committing aggravated assault or armed robbery. This is, as we read in the report, failure to comply with multiple verbal lawful commands, and he was placed under arrest for misdemeanor obstruction and received a citation for obstructing public sidewalks. He didn't get no DUI. He didn't go out there and do any theft or damage of any, government buildings or properties or vehicle. None of that. He was placed under arrest for misdemeanor of obstruction and received a citation for obstructing public sidewalks.
Bruh.
Lisa Shepard said, wow, that charge was super lame. This right here alone does not scare teams from drafting Zachariah Branch. Zachariah Branch, from just looking online, right? He's 5'10", 177 pounds, probably 178 pounds in the pool. He's 5'10", 177 pounds. This ain't no guy out here trying to be some superhero for the Avengers. He wasn't out here trying to fight the police. This young man right here, for me, is still on the Falcons' radar. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? For the ones that say, do not draft this guy, he's disrespecting authority. Do not draft this guy. He's not going to be what we need in the community. Don't draft this guy, Arthur Blank. He just got arrested for obstructing a public sidewalk. Falcon fans, let's keep it a buck here, all right? If you don't draft him, another team will. And you better hope it's not the Saints. You better hope it's not the Bucks. You better hope it's not the Panthers. I'm just going to tell you that right now, ladies and gentlemen. So for me, with this nonsense about Zachariah Branch's a police record or police report about obstruction of a public sidewalk, Atlanta Falcons, if you're listening, or if some people from your staff is listening or your organization is listening, because I have heard firsthand from somebody up there that you guys watch or listen to the show, Zachariah Branch is still a phenomenal player. This guy can come in here and change the dynamic of your wide receiver room. You don't have to pay him for another couple of years. You can take care of Drake. You can take care of Bijan. You can have a high-flying, explosive offense where, as we have seen in the past, rookies come in here and get the job done. Teams will have to scout for Zachariah Branch on the field because they've seen what he has done at Georgia, putting him in an offense that has Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. You have added another weapon to the mix. That's all I'm going to say on that level. Falcons, don't take him off your draft board for obstruction of a public sidewalk. Now, he attacked the police officer, he beat him up, stole the car. Totally different, all right? Totally different. In this situation, this young man, he flexed on the cop. He flexed on him. Violation of a public sidewalk in 2026, man. Like, come on, bro. Come on, man. Look what's going on in this world. Violation of a public sidewalk, bro. That's what you're spending your time on, officer. That's what you're doing. And I forget who told me. Oh, I didn't know that was Zachariah Branch until after. All right, cool. Don't mean have to play the favoritism role, but is that violation of a public sidewalk, bro? Falcons, don't take him off the radar, right? He's a good guy. Ain't nothing wrong with this kid, right? Otherwise than that, you guys sent the largest group of Falcons staff and organization members down to University of Georgia. You guys had a nice, lengthy, long talk with Zachariah Branch, where even Matt Ryan, who played the game at the highest level, would understand what type of player Zachariah Branch is. So please, Atlanta Falcons, do the right thing. If he's your guy at 48, make that move. Some say that's a little bit too high. He's going to sit back into the third round. I don't think a player like Zachariah Branch makes it to the third round. This is a guy, you can see him go as early as 48. You can see this guy go as early as before the third round even hits. So Falcons, just do the right thing. That's all I'm asking. Just do the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to wrap up this show here, as you guys have been so amazing tonight talking Falcons football with myself. And even though T. Will wasn't here and Kerry wasn't here and Bodie 3000 wasn't here, you guys did a great job of talking Falcons football with One Time for the Fan. Friday. Well, let me get to Thursday. We don't have a draft show for Thursday due to the fact that the Falcons don't have a draft pick for Thursday. You guys know what we've done here in the past with One Time for the Fan. We've gone live for multiple hours, 4 or 5 hours we've been on, almost close to 6 hours at one point. We'll start the show like around 6:37, bringing special guests from all over to come talk Falcons with us. This Thursday, the Falcons don't have a first-round selection. So it makes no sense for One Time for the Fan to sit here for 3-4 hours hoping and praying that the Falcons trade up or they do something that makes us want to, have a talking point. We're going to chill. We're going to watch it. We're going to see what other teams do. But I will say this. If the Falcons make a move to move up in the first round, or if they trade a player to gain an extra pick, if anything that is Falcon related on Thursday night, you will get a notification that One Time for the Fan is live. So come on back here Thursday night. Only if the Falcons do something that is draft related to the first round. If they don't, please be prepared for Friday night's podcast, as we will be live. I believe we're going to go live at 6:30 or 6:15. We're going to go live. This draft starts at 7. They fly through the second round and third round like this. They move. We're going to have some people join us on Friday. On Wednesday, we're going to drop some of the names of the people who will be joining us on Friday. If you would like to be a special guest and join us for the Friday show, please go ahead and drop a 1 in the chat. Or if you would like to reach out to myself or reach out to T. Will, reach out to Miss Carrie, 5 to 10 minutes, jump on the podcast. A couple other folks, we've kept it here for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. If you want to jump on, talk some Falcons football with us, there's a couple of requirements that we ask for you to do, and, it's super easy. But if you want to jump on with One Time for the Fan on Friday, this is the Falcons Fan Friday draft show. And, of course, if you want to be a part of it, if you want to jump on here and chat it up with us, drop a 1 in the chat or reach out to myself, reach out to T. Will, reach out to Miss Carrie on social media, and we'll make sure that we get you all on the platform. Also, we're going to be live for a couple hours on Friday. So many people jumping in the chat, so many people jumping on the podcast. It's going to be a great thing. It's going to be a great time, right? So for Falcon fans that are in here watching now, if you're new to the show, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that share button. There's well over 100 plus people in here. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Friday, once again, Friday, 6:15, 6:30, we're going to go live with the Falcons Friday Fan Draft Show for the second round. And if you want to be a part of it, hit the 1 in the chat or reach out to myself, T. Will, and Kerry. We want to make sure you guys coming by. We got a lot of people who's going to be stopping by, talking Falcons with us. And of course, once the pick is made from the Atlanta Falcons, we're going to deep dive into who this player is. We're going to deep dive into what this player can do for us. And we're going to look at any other additional moves the Falcons can make. And then we're going to run it through until that second and third round is up. Could take us close to like 10:30, 11. And then we're going to wrap up the show. Saturday is going to be a recap show of everything the Falcons have done for the week. And you never know, with the way that they just traded Rook, anything can happen with these Atlanta Falcons. Anything can happen with these Atlanta Falcons. So let's just be prepared for it. You guys have been great. You guys have been amazing here tonight on the podcast. 2 hours holding it down with myself. And that's why one time for the fan, like we say here, it's from the fan, it's for the fan. You guys got in here with your questions, with your comments. You guys talk Falcons football. We chatted about Atlanta. We talked a little Braves. You guys are amazing in every single way. That's why we do this podcast. We do it for you guys. And every time we hit that live button, you guys show up, you guys represent, and you guys show out in a positive Falcon way. So I got to give a round of applause. Let me go ahead and get that. I got to give a round of applause to you all. For everybody who tuned in tonight, for those that's watching it after, for those that's going to be commenting after, for those that's going to be watching on your job or wherever you're going to be, thank you all for being a part of this show too as well. You guys are also great. But as we wrap up this show, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who supports One Time for the Fan. Everybody who's ever told another person about One Time for the Fan. Everybody who just continues to rock with us 100%. One Time for the Fan is from the fan, and it's always for the fan. And you guys truly show your fan colors in a major way. So we will see you back tomorrow on the podcast. Yes, Falcon fans. We will see you back tomorrow. This is our draft week coverage of the Atlanta Falcons. We want to make sure you guys are in tune with everything the Atlanta Falcons. So if you missed something tonight, if you had a comment or a question, bring it to the chat tomorrow. If you had a friend who couldn't watch the show because they're at work and they're busy, tag them tomorrow. Share it with them tomorrow. But we're going to be back in here tomorrow. I think we'll do a pop-up show. I'm supposed to play golf in the morning, a quick golf game. So it shouldn't be too long. We're going to play a quick golf game. It should be done by almost 10:30, 11. So we should probably pop up with a midday show early in the afternoon. But it's going to be before T. Will show, who he has the Terry Carey Eric show coming up tomorrow night. We're going to be back Tuesday night as well with another show. We're going to be back at our scheduled time, which is Wednesday at 8, with another show. And then, of course, we have Thursday where we'll keep an eye out. We'll sit there and watch the draft. And if I hear Kyle Pitts or Jesse Bates or the Falcons are trading up or this, that, and the third, notification, the Atlanta Falcons, notification, One Time for the Fan is live. Just like that. The moment I see any damn headline, the moment I see anything trending at the Atlanta Falcons, if I get out there and I hear Adam Scheffner or Scott Van Pelt or any one of them on that four-letter network say, hold on here, ladies and gentlemen, the Atlanta Falcons are doing something. You're going to look at your phone here. Notification. One Time for the Fan is going live in 2 minutes. I'm going to be right there at the computer. But, of course, Friday, Falcon fans talking Falcons football on a Falcons Friday. That's a one time for the fan thing. We're gonna be live for a couple hours, watching and waiting for that Falcons pick. And of course, we're gonna have some special guests and some fans and some people join us to pick y'all brain about what's going on with these Atlanta Falcons, man. So with that being said, y'all be great. Oh, don't forget, Saturday we'll do the recap. A quick one, not no 4 or 5 hour, quick one of all the draft picks the Falcons made. Sunday we'll have our scheduled show because after the draft picks are made, now it's time to get down to the nitty gritty. And Sunday we'll explain more of that. They have voluntary workouts, mandatory workouts coming up. Rookie OTAs is coming up. Mini camp is going to be coming up. The schedule will be releasing shortly right after that. Matter of fact, they should be announcing the information of the Falcons playing in Spain and who they're playing against and the date. That should come out earlier than the schedule drops because they like to do that so that way fans can book their travel ahead of all the mass of people that's going to be doing it the same day that schedule drops. So we're going to get into everything. This is a week of one time for the fans. So you guys stay tuned, stay prepared. I love each and every one of you. To my folks out there who was talking Atlanta with me earlier, man, y'all don't know. Y'all took me back to my folks that we were talking about old Atlanta with some of the clubs and some of the places that we used to rock at and just hang out. And man, y'all took me back. And that's the Atlanta that I love. Truly. That was some of the places that I'm gonna go and tell my kids about. I'm gonna drive past it in a couple years and be like, hey man, you see that building right there? See that building that says Publix? It wasn't a Publix. It was this, that, and the third. So yeah, man. I'll be great, man. 82 Money Caller, what's up, man? Boy, 2 hours and 12 minutes, bro. By myself, bro. Big shout to T-Will. Big shout to Miss Carrie. Big shout to Bonnie 3000. They couldn't join us tonight. I was in it bit live, bro. So if you got a chance, Money Caller, go back. We talked about Zachariah Branch, that whole situation. We talked about Rook Aurora, that whole situation. Talked about the depth chart projection too as well. J Kid was in here holding it down with us, man. Big shout out to J Kid. That's a real one right there. That's a real one. But it's going down in a major way, man. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow on One Time for the Fan.